Hello friends, I am Professor Smita Jha from the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, IIT Roorkee, and I am here to discuss with you post-research activities. This is 8-week lecture series on research methodology in humanities and social sciences, in which I have focused almost all the vital points related to research methodology. And today's topic is very important, which is post-research activities. Because after research, a student doesn't know what to do, where to go, how to manage his or her dissertation. So you have passed the PhD, almost congratulations. It is a big celebration moment. And I hope that you have taken some time to celebrate and that you have got over or are dealing with the post-PhD slump. You are now applying for job and postdoctoral positions, and you notice that these teaching or a postdoc position inside and outside of a university ask you about your research plan. What is that, you wonder? This is the biggest question, what to do. And students should know there should be some consultation, and that is why I decided to speak on. For early career researchers, progression to a first post after completion of your PhD varies depending on the discipline you are working in. A PhD may be followed by a postdoctoral research associate positions and then a lectureship. Although in some discipline it may be possible to obtain a lectureship after completing a PhD. Roles such as teaching fellow, research fellow, senior research fellow, senior lecturer, reader and professor may follow depending on your aspirations and what opportunities are available. Of course, you had a few further research options in mind. When you finished the PhD, you had spelled them out in the conclusion to your thesis. The implication for further research. These were probably at least one or two of those that you thought you might like to do yourself given half a chance. But this project or even one or two of the projects you identified in your PhD is not what the job and postdoc panels usually want to hear about. When they say plan, they are signaling that they want to see something longer than. Interview panels often signal that interest by asking you what you hope to achieve over the next few years. They ask what you are going to contribute to their department or organization. When they ask this question, they are not looking to see whether your next research project fits in with them. They are looking for you to talk about something longer than them and something bigger than a single project. For an academic career, the next step after the doctorate is normally a postdoctoral fellowship or a lectureship, assistant professorship, or a replacement visiting adjunct position. Post-research activities include sharing findings, connecting with the research community, and enhancing research skills. This involves publishing research paper, presenting at conferences, collaborating with others, and potentially pursuing further opportunities such as postdoctoral position. Post-research activities involves disseminating findings, engaging with the research community, and further developing research skills. This includes publishing research paper, presenting at conferences, collaborating with others, and potentially pursuing further research opportunities like postdoctoral position. Disseminating your research findings. So first is publishing. Submitting your research paper to peer-reviewed journal is an essential step in sharing your findings with the scientific community. This process not only validates your work but also contributes to the collect knowledge in your field. Presenting at conference is a fantastic opportunity to share your research. Promoting research to maximize the reach of your finding, consider utilizing diverse channels such as press release, social media, and a scholarly collaboration network like ResearchGate and Scopus. These platforms can significantly enhance the visibility and impact of your research. engaging with media. If your research has the potential to make a significant impact, reach out to journalists and news outlets. By doing so, you can effectively communicate your findings to a broader audience. Engaging with research community, when networking, attending conference and events, engaging with other researchers online and connecting with individuals who reference your work can lead to valuable collaborations and opportunities. Collaboration, partnering with other researchers both within and outside your institution can expand your research scope and lead to new insight. Seeking feedback. Now, consistently seeking feedback on your research from mentor, colleague, and peers is crucial for continuous improvement. Further research development, postdoctoral position. Postdoctoral research position after opportunities to further develop research skills, build a strong publication record, and prepare for academic career. Mentoring. Engaging in mentoring activities such as supervising students can enhance leadership and teaching skills. Building a research portfolio, continuously working on research projects, publishing in reputable journals, and presenting at conference helps build a, a strong research portfolio, which is crucial for career advancement. Developing leadership skills, taking on leadership roles within research teams or projects can further enhance your professional development. To encourage student or postgraduate classes to understand the value of research and participate in the related activities so that it will prove beneficial in their career. The context, this is a major step in our effort to fulfill the peer team recommendation of increasing research activities. In the college, research is generally confined to publication of research paper by teachers in general. It also involves teachers and scholars pursuing doctoral study. Promoting published research work is challenging and deserves honest effort to make it rational. The strategies for promotion should be meticulously planned to choose the most apt avenues for promotion. The avenues can be an apt combination of various social media posts, press release, blogs, presentations, messaging apps, networking groups, website, and alike. The optimal combinations must be selected based on the purpose of promotions and the type of research work. These promotion avenues can be double-edged sword. Hence, researcher must be careful not to get too vocal about unverified claims. Promotion can be made more ethical by limiting the avenues for promotion and targeting the identified readership audience. However, article promotion often become a social celebration and the actual purpose is somehow lost. Therefore, a balance must be maintained regarding the promotion content and the number of avenues for rational promotion. Postdoc appointments are typically for 1, 2, or 3 years. Most, if not all, postdoc fellowship are research intensive. Some include teaching opportunities. These are important for professional development and for one's CVs. So, if the institution doesn't ask, one might consider offering oneself to teach as long as this will not unduly affect research productivity. Some 1-year appointments are explicitly meant to give the fellow time to revise their dissertation for publication. In article or book form, this may vary by field. Longer appointments are normally meant for new research projects. The big plus of postdoc position is that they offer an ample research time. This is not just intellectually attractive but also an investment in one's future career. Postdoc positions normally do not offer the prospects of a permanent position, but having done a postdoc may help one to land a lectureship position. Lectureship, assistant professorship are structural positions that may offer the prospect of permanent employment. A lecturer's duties usually include teaching and thesis supervision, research and administration. A lectureship is hard work, certainly in the first 2 years, especially for recent graduates who have not done a postdoc and need to develop their course and keep their research going. The big plus is the prospects of job security. This will also enable one to develop a long-term research agenda. Replacement visiting adjunct positions are usually limited in duration, heavy on teaching, and ungenerous in terms of infrastructure and terms of employment. Still, they offer tide over opportunity from the PhD to position with better career prospects, and they will strengthen your CV. And at that stage, when one may be revising one's dissertation for publication and considering one's option, they may work better than a job outside academics. Doing a PhD can also be a stepping stone toward other research oriented or related career in business, consulting, a cultural sector, education, funding agencies, and writing and editing in a variety of settings and in universities like academic publication, etc. One crucial asset is the transferable skills one acquires in graduate education, a specialist knowledge of language and cultures and societies past and present of particular disciplines and themes of research methods can also be used for other things than academic research. More generally, transferable skills for PhD graduate in the humanities and the social sciences include the ability to handle and synthesize large amounts of information and complex issue, undertake methodical analysis and contextualize one's finding in social, cultural, and historical terms, contribute to a structural discussion and provide high quality feedback, report to one's work in high quality writing and oral presentation, self-start, think creatively and work independently and consult others at the right time. See the big picture for longer term projects and preserve. This is a good option should your thesis be on a topic that would have wide appeal to an academic audience. A key consideration here is that the structure of a thesis is massively different to a book. Rather than starting with a hypothesis, a book should showcase a considered argument and its narrative should communicate that argument to peer in the field, demonstrating how the research has evolved into the viewpoint and what impact it can have. Partial conversion. Using parts of your thesis usually means that you are conducting further research that might be ongoing and might involve colleagues that might be co-authored on the project. Partial conversion, a chapter in an edited collection, perhaps your thesis does not quite have the broad appeal for a full book conversion. In this case, you might consider a chapter in an edited collection under a broader theme. What are publishers looking for? So, broad global scholarly appeal. Remember, your thesis is written for a handful of examiner and experts in your field and is partly there to demonstrate the expertise you have gained from your research. A book should have a much wider audience than that and should be engaging and interesting enough to appeal to a broad section of researchers across your field and potentially other discipline as appropriate, and should particularly be accessible enough to engage any researcher interested in your topic of study. What is the quality? A good book manuscript should focus on a coherent argument, narrative, rather than a step-by-step checklist of things you need to demonstrate in a thesis. You don't need to include big sections or whole chapters or literature review or methodology. These can be weaved into the book as and when appropriate. Development potential. An original thesis should be regarded as the basis for an entirely new work written with a new audience in mind. Now try to get advice. Talking about your research and the process of working it into a book is one of the best ways to ensuring success. Try reaching out to your immediate colleagues and co-authors and publishing papers, your PhD supervisor peers. You might meet at conference with a publishing contact or even online. Try asking for advice or on Twitter or any professional network sites. It is advisable to start a conversation with supervisors and other colleagues shortly after completion of a PhD. Once you have started to get a good idea of what you want to do, it's also a great time to reach out to a commissioning editor at a publisher. They can achieve on further consideration for turning your thesis into a book with a broad scholarly appeal, as well as how to fill in a book proposal form. The next natural step is to submit a book proposal, which will be considered by the publisher, often involving a peer review process. Now, again, the audience is very important. The single most important thing to remember when converting your thesis is the audience. In contrast, a book should have a much wider audience and should be engaging and interesting enough to appeal to a broad action of researchers across your field and potentially even other discipline as appropriate. Realize which part of your thesis are useful only to examiner. Any section such as literature review or extended methodology discussion should be cut or heavily amended, digested. These sections are weave in and cut off your overall narrative rather than be structured separately. Writing style is less important and for examiner but essential for book reader. PhD examiners will read your thesis regardless of the writing style, but the writing style for book reader is essential for ensuring your research is accessible and engaging. You must be prepared to extensively rewrite your thesis to retain and engage readers. Keep the big picture in mind. It's important to take a step back while putting together a proposal or during the manuscript writing process. Set reminders at intervals to focus on the overall narratives of the book. Is there a logical development of an engaged argument? Does it make sense to a reader's point of view? If not, be prepared to rethink and structure. It can be freeing to step away from a traditional thesis structure. Write concisely. It's important to bear in mind the importance of the reader's time at all stages of the writing processes. You should focus on streamlining where possible and keep in mind the agreed length of the book. Books are often much shorter than these, which by their nature contain much repetition. If you are finding it hard to meet the agreed word limit, your writing style is likely not quite right yet for a book audience. Now, if your research is a specialist and nuanced with a narrow scope, try boosting its contextual implication by adding an international or interdisciplinary context. It is particularly useful to do this within the introductory and concluding chapters, rounding off your books with opening and closing contextual chapters can really emphasize the place of research within the field and showcase how it is adding to the literature or breaking fresh ground. Get a third-party proofreader. Consider getting someone with your field, perhaps without their specialist knowledge relating to your PhD knowledge, and see what they think of your writing style. If they can follow your argument and find value in the work you are presenting for the wider field, then the book has good potential. If they are struggling, you might need to rethink the project. Chapter titles are something people often forget, and chapter titles can sometimes be a real giveaway in a proposal that a book is based on a thesis and maybe has not been revised appropriately. It's often a comment reviewers make and a clear sign up them that the proposal is a thesis conversion. Chapter titles can be way more dynamic in a book than in a thesis, and there is no need to have chapters called methodology or results. Freeing yourself from these structured ways of thinking can be liberating and is a good way of diverting yourself from writing in a thesis style. Remember that readers of the book are most interested in what your findings argument are. Think about leading your book with the end of your thesis, that is the results answer to the question you were researching, rather than starting by explaining how you get there. You don't need to include big section or whole chapters. A book manuscript should typically be shorter than your thesis. Use introductory and concluding chapter. So to summarize, be prepared to rewrite. Having sketched out a new structure and focus, you now have to start writing all over again to create a completely new work. You should accept this as a must for success and enjoy the creative process that comes with it. Remove academic structuring. Ordinary readers want you to get straight to the point. Anything that sounds like in this chapter I will argue or in this chapter I have shown should be deleted immediately. Audience is the most important consideration. Reorganize your writing around your new audience. Remember that concise narrative-led writing is essential. Refocus on the storytelling. Any background material, if retained at all, should be moved from the beginning to the end of the book or incorporated in a condensed form into the relevant section of the main text. From start to finish, you should begin with an answer rather than a question, and your argument should be maintained throughout. So key factors to consider while publishing your thesis as a book: purpose of the book and problem it intends to solve, a proposed title, the need for your proposed book, existing and potential competition, index of content, overview of the book, summary of each chapter, timeline of completing the book, brief description of the audience and the courses it covers. So reviewing the draft. So your supervisor and the advisory council review and refine your thesis draft. However, a book must be proofread, preferably by someone with a constructive view. You can also use professional editing services or just go ahead with an excellent grammar checking tool to avoid the hassle. So take a break, that is after post thesis or post research activities, I can say. Acknowledge the significant effort involved in completing your PhD and allow yourself time to rest and rejuvenate. Reflect on your journey. Consider what you enjoy most about your research experience and what your career paths align with your aspirations. Prepare for the viva. Ensure you are familiar with your thesis and ready to discuss your research in detail. Complete graduate requirement. Fulfill any remaining administrative tasks related to your degree completion. Navigating the job market. Tailor your CV resume. Adapt your resume CV to reflect the requirements of a specific job application, whether academic or industry. Focus, be patient and persistent. To job search can be challenging, so don't be discouraged by rejections and keep pursuing your goal. Consider different roles. Explore part-time or short-term positions while you continue your job search. Job hunting. Starting your job hunt within your network makes sense. After all, you are built up your connection throughout your studies and your colleagues and peers are already familiar with your work. It is true that a large number of people find their jobs through networking, so you may wonder, what are the benefits of going beyond my network? Isn't that just more effort? By going outside your existing professional network, you can expand your opportunities, gain new perspective, develop new connections, demonstrate adaptability. So how to reach beyond your existing network? So how can you find new jobs opportunity and fields where you might be a great fit? Finding new contracts and potential employer requires some time, research and persistence. So the first thing you should be is research companies and organization, look up professional associations and industry reports, and attend conferences, seminar, workshop to meet people and learn more about what companies are out there and who is hiring. Going beyond your network to try to find new opportunities is a challenge, but for many people it is a challenge that pay off. Exploring outside your comfort zone, trying to imagine new ways and fields to apply your talent, and meeting new people are all essential as leverage your PhD experience for maximum return. While you are job hunting, the most important tip is to believe in yourself and your experience. There is a great job waiting out there for you, and you just have to find it. The best way to handle job hunting is actually to treat it like a job. Set a goal for yourself daily and carve out dedicated time to apply and applying the to jobs that you think would be a great fit for you. Don't let rejection get you down. If you find yourself struggling, talk to others who are also job hunting, whether personal friends or people on job hunting forum online. It can always help to have a sympathetic ears to listen. A streamlined search process, these platforms often categorize fellowships by discipline, location, eligibility criteria, making it easier for applicants to find relevant opportunities. This allows individuals to quickly and efficiently identify fellowships that align with their career goals and qualifications. Moreover, many of these platforms offer additional resources such as application tips, success stories from past fellows, and insights into the selection process. This wealth of information can be invaluable for applicants who may be unfamiliar with the nuances of fellowship application. So, increasing chances of securing a fellowship by utilizing these online platforms effectively, individual can streamline their search process and increase their chances of securing a fellowship that aligns with their career goals. Notable website is profellow.com, which specializes in professional fellowship across diverse sectors, including education, public policy, and the art. Pro Fellow not only list available fellowship but also provide resources such as application tips and interviews with past fellows. In addition to dedicated websites, several search engines aggregate fellowship listing from various sources, providing a broader view of available opportunity. One such engine is fellowshipfinder.com, which compiles fellowship from multiple organizations and institutions. This platform allows users to search by keywords or categories, making it easier to discover fellowships that may not be listed on more specialized sites. Another useful search engine is grantforward.com, which primarily focuses on grant but also include fellowship listing. By utilizing these search engine, applicants can cast a wider net in their search for fellowships and uncover opportunity that might otherwise go unnoticed. The ability to compare different listings side by side can also help applicants make informed decisions about which fellowships align best with their goal. Social media has emerged as a powerful tool for discovering fellowship opportunities and connecting with like-minded individual. Platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter are particularly effective for this purpose. On LinkedIn, users can follow organizations that offer fellowship and join groups focused on a specific fields or interest. Certain online resources cater specifically to fellowships, types, or fields of study. For instance, if someone is interested in academic research fellowship, website like Academic Position or ResearchGate can provide targeted listing and resources tailored to researchers at various stages of their career. These platforms often include job boards that feature fellowship alongside other academic positions. Well, today the lecture on research methodologies in humanity and social sciences are over. Well, there are a number of topics, 8-week course, and I'm sure that after attending this course, you all will be a good researcher. I'm sure that being a great academician, you will imbibe a lot that how to pursue a good research and how to contribute to the literary academic world by publishing your paper in Q1, Q2 journal, because I have also delivered my lecture on this Q1, Q2 journal. Any question, my email is available on the website. You can connect with me. You can come to IIT Roorkee as fellow, and you can work under me as intern. There are various programs, so try to make yourself well equipped with all the programs and make yourself benefited with all these courses. My best wishes to you all, to be a good researcher, postdoc researcher, fellowship, and now, not goodbye, thank you.